And welcome to another episode of Spear from the Past. It's going to be a fun one today. We're talking about Wrestlemania 31. I've got Eric Moreno here. But Eric, how's it going?
It's doing pretty good. You picked a good pay-per-view to talk about, and I'm very happy to talk about it with you. So thanks for having me.
Yep. The first question I like to ask, or I guess at least the first time I have in mind, is how did you sort of get into wrestling?
Okay. So I got into wrestling around 2009. I was in primary school. I don't know how to explain it to the people internationally because it's very different. I'm guessing it's very different in your country. The same way it's different in the USA. The same way it's different here in Mexico. Doesn't matter. I hung around with some friends, and one of them friends had a PlayStation 2 with SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, I want to say. And that's how I got introduced to wrestling. That, hey, this is how it works. This is how the game works. And I was super excited. I was already a movie fan, and I was very attracted by the theatrics of The Undertaker, for example. And right around the time, everybody was a fan of Jeff Hardy, so I started to watch wrestling because of him. Also, I only had SmackDown at the time, and I I even remember the very first show I saw was SmackDown, where Chris Jericho was feuding with Rey Mysterio, and Chris Jericho wore the mask on the public, and that's when Rey Mysterio used to touch the mask with the kids, and Chris Jericho attacked him. And I always been a fan of the heels because of that. Like Chris Jericho used to be one of my favorites, not so much that right now. And that's kind of how it started. That everybody like around the year Jeff Hardy left, everybody in my classroom they stopped watching wrestling, and I stuck around until a little bit later. But I will tell you about it when we get into the pay per view because it's very relevant to that part of my history of wrestling.
Yeah, and just quickly, I've said that, I've gone more in depth on other episodes, but I got into this just from NX and that enough of it was not too far before Jeff Hardy sort of left for the first time. Because Jeff Hardy was my favorite wrestler, but I also kind of stuck around and kept, but it's one of those ones like a lot of the wrestlers that I know I've only really known through the video games because as well, but yeah. But as well those ones like I pay for the W Network, and it's my primary reason was like so I'm using it more than just watching the monthly pay per views every month. But if that we did have a pre-show for this, but we'll get into that later because this was one of the pay-per-views where they actually recap the pre-show things later on in the in the pay-per-view, which they're probably
something very there's something very odd. I tried to watch the pre-show like on YouTube, and technically the kickoff show is still there, but they removed every pre-show match from it. Like it's supposed to be like an hour and a half, but it's actually like an hour and 10 because the 20 minutes of wrestling they removed it, so you can only watch it on the network or I guess on Peacock right now. And I wanted to watch it, even if it's two pre-show matches that I don't care that much.
I mean, as I said, it's one of those rare pay-per-views where they actually recap the pre-show match because maybe they're just counting on people not watching on YouTube or whatnot. I don't know. But going into this, we open up the show with LO Black singing "America the Beautiful," and then we had a LL Cool J segment talking about WrestleMania moments and that. What do you think of like LO Black singing "America the Beautiful" and then this LL Cool J segment?
I mean, I don't normally care about the America the Beautiful part. I normally skip that when I'm watching. Like I'm doing something else when the pay per view starts. I do remember liking at the time actually that musician. He has a. I'm pretty sure he's the guy who did "I Need a Dollar." I'm pretty sure that's the song I know of him. That's the only part I know of him. Like it was a throwback when I was watching it yesterday. Like, oh yeah, he used to be a thing.
Yeah, it's one of those ones I don't have a lot of thoughts about this either, because but just like you, like I only know LO Black from "I Need a Dollar," but it's just and but yeah, it'll be the LO Cool J segment is pretty much the same as what they do every year with insert famous person from that city.
That video package is the one that everybody talks about these manias, the mania play button. Like that's the one who hits play. Yeah, this is when they used to. I don't know if they I haven't. I don't remember since when they stopped doing that. I'm guessing after Vince left, they didn't put the number on the show, and they started doing that in this show in particular. This doesn't have
Yeah,
logo, and that goes on. I'm pretty sure until 39 it started to happen again, because I'm pretty sure the WrestleMania 38 doesn't have the number, but I'm pretty sure 39 has, or maybe it does. No,
yeah,
no. Actually, I'm messing around. The WrestleMania 39 doesn't have the number. It's WrestleMania Goes Hollywood, something like that. And then 40 definitely has the XL. I remember that.
yeah.
I could be wrong though.
Just quickly, I'm just looking at this for WrestleMania 32. For some reason, I've always thought they did have a number, but I could be wrong. Oh no, the poster for WrestleMania 32 was a star.
Yeah, it was just a star,
with
and
presented by
then
Snickers.
yeah. 39 doesn't have logo. It also has the sneakers. I don't know. I'm pretty sure none of them have until 40 the number. Like
Yeah, no.
WrestleMania 30 has it, and 40 has it, and everything in between doesn't have the number.
Yeah. I mean, when we go through, we might come across some other random manias that had like a number or something as well.
Yeah.
But moving on to the first match we had on the card, we had Daniel Bryan versus Bad News Barrett, Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, Luke Harper, R-Truth, and Stardust for the Intercontinental title ladder match. And this was this is a really fun like ladder match. Like it had a lot of great like ladder match spots. Like I think one of my favorite spots I had was when like Stardust would have his ladder, and then you have Bad News Barrett just literally kick everyone out of the ladder and just use it as direct people.
See all the glitter, like leave the ladder, and he kind of did the same thing, but obviously much more emotionally. Like the next year in the ladder match, when he brought the ladder match with the dusty spots. So
yeah.
He did that before. I didn't remember that when I saw this match again.
And then Daniel Bryan pulled out got the win here. But yeah, what are your thoughts about this ladder match?
Yeah, pretty sure. Like it's very funny seeing this match. Like it's what 9 years after. Like three participants of this match are the current world champions in their respective promotions. Like Cody is the WWE champion, and Bryan Danielson's AEW champ, and I'm pretty sure is still Nick Nemeth the TNA champion. I'm pretty sure he didn't lose it last pay-per-view. Also, pretty funny. The first entrant is Daniel Bryan. The last entrant is Dean Ambrose, and Jon Moxley just tried to kill him last pay-per-view we saw on the weekend. Yeah. But it was a pretty fun match. Like I remember this. So just to be quick about it, like I stopped watching around 2012 when I used to have only Raw, and Raw was pretty boring to me because it became 3 hours. And I stopped around 2012 to 2014. I didn't watch any wrestling until around this part of the Manias. And so I was pretty much introduced to many wrestlers around this time. One of them being, of course, Luke Harper, which I didn't knew him before as a part of the Wyatt. I knew him first as a single wrestler around this time, and he was definitely the one for me in this match that I didn't know before. That he's going to be great. Like I always appreciated his work, and he's pretty much the MVP of the match for me in this one. Like he does the incredible powerbomb spot too. I'm pretty sure I should give more credit to Moxley for taking the bump, but I was like, oh, this man is a killer. Kill him. Yeah.
But yeah, the next match we had was Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins. And this is a match that I had a lot of fun playing with in this year's wrestling game. But it's just one of those ones in the games, like obviously there's just like two random created wrestlers the security. Which I don't get why they didn't put Joey Mercury and the other guy in the game.
They're still working for the company. I'm pretty sure. Like I don't know why. Isn't this year was the Mania showcase, right? And this match is as in the showcase, but they are not in the match. They are not part of the game, and it's pretty odd for me.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be that they have as part of their deal, they haven't signed like a Legends deal that gives them that kind allow them.
They've been doing this this weekend a lot with the female wrestlers. That's pretty cool. Like they are signing a lot of people to Legends deal, I'm guessing, for marketing reasons. But good for them, I guess. Get their
Oh
money.
yeah. But yeah, the match itself, it was definitely a lot of fun, and that like RKO spot at the very end, I think was a very great spot.
Like every time I picture it, I'm impressed by the Orton's strength, neck strength. Like that's pretty impressive. Like spot for Seth to jump up and then get hit by the RKO. They pretty the 2K16 was a game that came out that year, and they pretty much added that very quickly, and it hasn't been removed since. Like at
Yeah,
the time, it used to be done. You had to have a finisher, and I'm pretty sure you can only do that with Randy Orton. But now, every time you counter the curb stomp in the game, you get it. You hit an RKO, even if you're not Randy Orton, if you don't have a finisher. Pretty much,
yeah,
you hit it, and then Seth comes back again, or whoever hit the curb stomp on you. Like that's pretty much the one part. The match is pretty good in itself. The story is like I remember the video package, and around the time the story was Seth Rollins is a newer version of Randy Orton, which is pretty funny to me because that was the same story they used when Edge battled Seth Rollins like in 2021. Like
yeah,
you're the same, we are the same, and all that. And by the time Seth Rollins battled Edge, Seth Rollins had pretty much become had already became like his own. And but at this time he didn't, and it made sense to compare him to Randy Orton because of the Triple H connection and all that. That was kind of the
yeah.
story. The match was all right, but the finish was great. That's why we remember it.
Yeah, and it's one of those ones like I remember being disappointed that Seth lost, but then knowing what I know now, and we'll get into
Yeah,
it
yeah.
later. Like I think it makes sense for why he lost.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if the finish like the finish of the pay per view wasn't that, he probably would have won that match anyway. But
Yeah,
it made sense for especially because the very next pay per view, I think it's Extreme Rules, like Orton challenged him for the title, so it makes sense. Like already
yeah,
have a challenger set up.
but then next up we had Triple H versus Sting, and it's one of those ones where Triple H was fully in this whole authority thing, and then you had like Sting come out and go like, WWE and like, well, something to that effect, like try just capitalizing on the whole WCW and WWE rivalry they had, and but the match itself, I think, was a lot of fun. And this is one of my favorite things about Manias is when you see like these wrestlers have these cool entrances. Like you'd Sting come out with a whole bunch of people in Sting masks with drums and that, and think, and it was awesome. Then you had Triple H, and as
With
we
the
reminded multiple times through this pay per view, this Mania was sponsored by Terminator Genesis.
yeah, I was gonna say like
So of course you had Arnold.
that's the awful spot about the Mania is sponsored by the worst Terminator movie. Like that's a shame. It pretty much rewatching it, like a lot of stuff kind of, I don't want to say age badly, but pretty much sets you back to 2015, and a lot of that is the commentary when they made a reference to,
Yeah,
I mean, Jennifer Lawrence still a thing, but they mentioned her a bit. And then I remember in the pre-show, like JBL especially is the one who did that kind of stuff at the time. Like he made a reference to a soccer player called Luis Suarez, who was
yeah,
who yeah, and he was known for biting the other players, and Damien Sandow was biting Big Show to eliminate him. And who does he think he is? Is Luis Suarez? And yeah, oh, that's a throwback. Like, and Terminator Genesis is pretty much a throwback. The same way in the future when we see Wrestlemania 39 and we see Demon Balor versus Brood Edge, like it's sponsored by the Pope's Exorcist, which I always
yeah.
found it pretty funny. Like a Hell in a Cell match sponsored by a movie, and a pretty forgettable movie at that. That's kind of funny to me.
Um, yeah, but yeah, but I mean, but the entrance itself, I think it was largely fine. Because that's one of those ones, I really like the whole Terminator inspired like King of Kings mask that he had and all that. It was like I don't know if you really needed the whole like Arnie voiceover. It's like
Yeah, pretty much he was introduced in the Hall of Fame that year, so it made sense. I might as well use him. Yeah, like he's
oh yeah.
here. Yeah,
But I mean, the match itself, I think it went well, and then you had the like the predictable things kind of happened. Like you had DX, which like, but without Shawn Michaels at the time, like you had DX, which was New Age Outlaws and Expects, come out first, then of course it brings out the NWO, which is Nash, Hall, and Hogan. And then Shawn Michaels comes out and then kicks Sting in the head, and then like when you think that Triple H is going to win, Sting kicks out, and then they both bring out their signature weapons like the sledgehammer and the baseball bat, and then um, and then Sting has this cool moment where he just smashes the baseball bat and
breaks
smashes the
it.
sledgehammer in half.
Yeah. Yeah,
um,
that part was fun. I am on the opposite side of the match. Besides a couple spots, I don't really like the match, but it's not because of either of the wrestlers or even the cameos. I hate the commentary on this match. Like I hate it when they like pretty much the whole pay per view. I had never liked three man groups in commentary, and this is JBL at his meh. Michael Cole still being talked with. There's a massive improvement with Michael Cole after Vince left. Like I really like Michael Cole now in commentary. At the time, I didn't like him that much because he was pretty boring to me. And then Jerry Lawler, when he's not allowed to do this stuff, he said at the Attitude Era, he's pretty boring to me. And in this match in
yeah,
particular, nobody is on the side of Sting. Like it is pretty much one of those that like JBL is obviously the heel commentary, and he's obviously going to support Triple H. Like he's the whole match, he's damn you Sting or damn you Scott Hall for interrupting Triple H for getting the sledgehammer or Hulk Hogan or something like
yeah,
that. And then, but every time it's like, oh, WCW tried to ruin the company. We should. Why didn't he came back early? Like it's pretty much. It's not that I don't even think the issue is the three man commentary. It's pretty much everybody in the commentary table is speaking with the voice of Vince McMahon, and Sting doesn't get any credit for his
yeah,
accomplishments outside of WWE. So that is pretty that the commentary especially makes this match very insufferable for me to hear, especially because I know the ending now by the match. Like I know he loses, and then he has
yeah,
to shake Triple H's hand after the match, even though I mean it was a no DQ match, but it technically became that after everybody else came in. Like they didn't do much with that stipulation until the cameos, and the cameos were fine. I was pretty surprised by the bombs that the people take, like I laughed a little bit. It's a little bit mean for me to laugh about Kevin Nash and his quads when Billy Gunn jumps him. Kevin Nash goes immediately to touch his quads because that probably worries him a lot. And then Scott Hall takes a big bomb. Hogan takes a semi bomb. But I'm not. I don't want to give credit to Hogan. It's fuck every day. It's fuck Hulk Hogan day for me. He can screw himself up, whatever. But the other guys, like props for them for taking big bombs, and the X guys as well. But the match,
yeah.
it's always hit and miss with me. Like it's fun, but it's one of those the tendencies of the Vince McMahon era are very clear in that match. That's the one that's aged the worst for me personally.
Oh yeah, no, it's one of those ones like I don't mind the commentary too much just because I was paying more attention to the match anyway. like like sometimes, especially with some of these early pay per views, I will pick up some random lines on commentary that are like I'll highlight there. I really wasn't too much, but I do get where you're coming from. Like whole commentary team did seem to be on the side of Triple H, which predictably would um kind of the way you kind of expected anyway, just because like it still is a WCW WW type feud.
But
But I
they
do,
had the worst thing is they had the right story when Sting debuted. Like him against an authority figure and a big group makes a lot of sense without having to add the WCW stuff. I don't even think it's Triple H's fault in this. I like it's more of a Vince McMahon thing. That's why I mean like even the story itself, if it happened the same, but the story was Sting against the Authority, it's fine by me. But it's WCW versus WWE when it doesn't matter that much. It's been at the time was 14 years since WCW ended. Like why revisit that when you are planning to have Sting as a big baby face? Like why make it
yeah,
like that? Like it's just. It doesn't piss me off as much as I did it at the time. It didn't even piss me off. It pisses me off more now, but it doesn't matter that much. I'm pretty glad Sting got his like proper retirement this year, so at least that is not as bitter as at the time, or even a little bit after when he had to retire.
oh yeah. I mean, I do like the fact they had Triple H and Sting shake hands after the match. Like I do think it was a nice touch. But
And
yeah,
that's pretty
I
much
kind
outside of kayfabe, I guess. Like, yeah, good match. Like that's fine. Yeah, that doesn't matter
yeah.
that much.
but I definitely agree with what you mean because like for me, like I like the match for the most part, and I do wish they did more of the whole no DQ stipulation from the start. But I think like all the interferences kind of took away a little bit from the match because I think it felt like everyone was more excited to see DX turn up or the NWO turn up or Shawn Michaels turn up.
Like if you think about it too much, like why is the NWO helping Sting? Like if you worry about that too much, like that doesn't matter. And also it's one of those things that is very revisionist of WWE. Like they put DX in the same level as NWO, and it never was like that. Like NWO was the big thing, and DX was starting to become a big thing, and then but it
Yeah,
stuck around a certain level. Like Triple H's best stuff is after DX. It's not during the DX, like at least for me. So they are always saying that DX was very important for beating WCW, but it never was. It's always Rock and Austin, and to a lesser extent Mankind. It's never DX, the one that beat the NWO for me. So to have them battle is fun for a nostalgic sense, but it's always like you're trying to do that, and the X wasn't as. I mean, that's just me talking in hindsight. Up to me, the X wasn't as good to me.
yeah. But moving on, next we had a quick segment of Maria Menounos interviewing Daniel
Yeah,
Bryan, and
shit.
then you have Pat Patterson, Roddy Piper, Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat. I wrote Ric Flair down twice for some
And
reason.
Ron Simmons. Don't forget. Damn.
Yeah, no, I was getting there, but yeah, then we had
Yeah,
Bret
sorry.
Hart. They all come out to celebrate, and they'll do the yes chant among the all the other catchphrases at times. Then at the end you had Mon Simmons, who at this point was doing a lot of cameos in these backstage segments, just coming out of the end doing dams like
Yeah, it was pretty
which
much a joke at the time. Yeah, that's
yeah,
it. It's only joke. Yeah, but he's
yeah, but
funny. I
it was
like Ron Simmons.
yeah, but I mean, it was a fun way to have Daniel Bryan celebrate and have like celebrate some of these past Intercontinental champions as well. And, and well, so that really isn't much to go
Uh,
on there.
Also to add to that, like this is the last Roddy Piper appearance in pay per view. I'm not sure pay per view definitely his last Mania, but he passed away a couple months later in 2015. So that's the last time we see Piper at a Mania. It's a good segment for all, pretty much every other legendary IC champion available, except for Ron Simmons, who never won it. That was a joke. Hey, Ron
Mm.
Simmons, do you ever win the IC title? Yep. Damn, that's the whole deal. Also, Ricky Dragon Simba doesn't know how to do a proper Macho Man impression. That
Yeah.
stood out for me. He botches
Um,
the oh yeah. Yeah.
but um, but then next year the classic Mania thing where they bring out the people who did the Mania theme song to do sing the theme song, which was and this time it was Travis Barker, Skylar Grey, and Kid Inc. I know Travis Barker. I don't know much about the others. The song I actually quite like. I do think this was a good song, and I do like they didn't do what they've done in the past, with it'll have like, oh, you'll come out and sing the Mania theme song, and then you'll do a mini concert and do 5 other songs.
Yeah, like
I'm looking at you, year that Kid Rock was came out.
yeah. Every day is also a fuck Kid Rock day. It doesn't matter. Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
Yeah, who was it? Is I always like every time I hear the this Mania song, I go back to uh JPO's WWT because he always has it on the background, so I always connect it to like oh yeah JPO like that's how I know the song most.
but moving on, there a match between AJ Lee and Paige versus the Bellatrins. I don't really have much notes. I really enjoyed this match for the most
It's
part.
yeah.
It's one of those ones like I still like I've seen it. I still don't remember why they were fighting. I think it was just the Bellas disrespected AJ Lee and Paige on teaming up or something. It was the
Yeah,
match.
there
It's
wasn't like a video package before it. I don't remember much of commentary saying what the story was. It's very odd because this is the last AJ Lee like pay per view appearance, and she
yeah.
submitted the champion, but then she left after the Raw after Mania of that year and never challenged again for the title. And I don't even think Paige challenged for the title after that. I don't remember who was the next challenger, probably Natalia or somebody like that. So
Yeah,
this probably doesn't is the shortest match, obviously. Even it's even shorter than like the pre-show matches. Like it's less than 7 minutes long. Like
Yeah,
it's there. It's fine. Like I like the workers. It's not fault. It's never fault of them to be reduced to that less like that few of time to wrestle. Like it just finished and that's it. I don't have that much to say about the match.
yeah. But next up we had like they brought out the Hall of Famers, which in this class was the Bushwhackers, Larry Zabitsko, Alundra Blaze, Tatsumi Fujinami, Rikishi, the Warrior Award winner, which was Connor the Crusher, Mikalik, I probably butchered that last name. Arnold Schwarzenegger for the Celebrity Ring, Macho Man Randy Savage, and Kevin Nash. What are your thoughts on this Hall of Fame class?
It's a good balanced class, I guess. Like it's a shame that it took so long for Measurement to be added to the Hall of Fame. Like he passed away on 2011, I'm pretty sure, and then they waited until 2015. I don't know why. I wouldn't ask. I don't know. So Kevin Nash is technically the headliner, but he's the one who gets the entrance as the solo. And
Yeah,
I mean, no disrespect to Kevin Nash, he's great, but Macho Man is obviously the one that stands out in that class. And then it's great to have Alundra Blaze back. Tatsumu Fujinami is a good legend to have. Bushwhackers, fun team. Whatever you think about their gimmick, it's like they are good. They were good workers. They have a 5-star match and all that. Rikishi is around it's around. I'm pretty sure he's from the area. Where is it?
yeah,
California. Pretty sure makes sense. And Arnold, the former governor, and I don't. I mean, Arnold is the one that sticks out also because like he never did that much, but they had the Terminator Genesis like partnership and the entrance and all that. So sure, Schwarzenegger's fine. He's a legend outside, but there's many celebrities should be before Arnold should be in the Hall of Fame.
yeah. No, it's one of those ones like I don't have too much of an interest in celebrities getting inducted, like because it's one of those ones like with the most of the time celebrities don't do a lot. So
Yeah.
but um, because I think even before this, I think Arnie had done some stuff with WWE before, in the
He,
past.
he
From
showed up in a SmackDown once in '99 or 2000 around that part.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's it. That's the only like. Imagine Cyndi Lauper still not in the Hall of Fame. Andy Kaufman was just introduced in the Hall of Fame. Pretty sure it's not this year, the last year.
yeah.
And I mean Arnold's fine. I like Arnold a lot an actor, as a movie star, but it's fine. Like I like this. It's Arnold. It's the Celebrity Hall of Fame. It doesn't matter, to be
Yeah,
honest.
no, because I think from what I remember of the whole Randy Savage thing, I think it's similar to with Bray Wyatt now because like everyone's going, oh, he should have been inducted in the Hall of Fame last year on the same year as passing. I think it's a case like they don't want it to feel like they're capitalizing on their deaths.
But
So
that some stuff means before. Like,
well, yeah,
I don't know if that's it.
no, why? I mean, I think there was some other things with the family not wanting him inducted straight away as well. Because I think there is a reason for why they waited as long as they did. Um,
I mean, they could have like do it. I mean, I don't know what their relationship exactly was, but I know they were in good terms. Like I'm pretty sure Macho Man and Vince. But I mean, he was alive for a lot of the time he was retired. Like it's not an issue of having inducting him after he died, but like pretty much before. It's like the Sid situation this year. Like they should have inducted him a while ago. I'm not thinking they're going to do it next year because he just passed away. But it's kind of one of those like you kind of waited too long for inducting him and then he passed away.
yeah. No, I definitely get what you meant by that. But I think it's one of those. I think it was a mixture of maybe family, like and stuff. Because like as you said, I don't think Macho Man, I don't think Randy Savage and his family had the greatest relationship with WWE like since he retired. I just
Yeah.
so I think there's something there. But
It's also a very sticky situation to have Hulk Hogan induct him because I mean, like whatever Hulk Hogan says, like he says they patched up before he died. I don't believe Hulk Hogan any day. So like why Hulk Hogan? I don't know because famous. Obviously, I know why, like famous rivalry and all that, but
Yeah.
I don't believe Hogan. I don't think that matched up. But it's good to have Lanny Poffo. I'm pretty sure he's the one who took the award for his brother. So that was nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those ones it, I one of the, I'll probably hit one of the Bushwhackers matches at some stage going through these pay per views. But really enough, I am familiar with them because they are as I found out recently, they are from New Zealand.
Yeah.
And there was actually one time where they were doing. I think one half of them was doing some kind of signing or something, or a talk. But I was going to go and see it, but for whatever reason, I didn't. And it's just but it's one of those ones like I'm kind of glad they got inducted before. I can't remember which one passed away recently. I think it was Luke. But yeah, no. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones like it's always sad, like especially with some of these people like Sid Vicious and that who never got inducted like while they're alive, and then it like for them to get inducted like after their passing, it kind of feels like, you know what, we are doing this because unfortunately you're no longer with us, which is a sad way to look at it. But I mean, and it's one of those ones like in the case of Bray Wyatt, like I don't think he was going to be inducted anytime soon anyway. But just because
I wasn't expecting
just because he was still semi-active in the company and all that. But
by the way, it was Butch who passed away. Bushwhacker Butch passed away last year.
Yeah,
yeah. Luke's still around us.
I knew it was one of them. I just couldn't.
No, one or the other.
Yeah, but moving on, the next match we had was John Cena versus Rusev for the US title, which I completely forgot at this time he wasn't for one of the major titles. And then you had Rusev coming out in a tank flanked by soldiers.
Famous tank where they made out to keep it PG before the match or after. I don't remember, but Rusev had a story like that. They did some stuff inside the tank.
Oh yeah, no,
you never heard of that? That's a famous interview. I don't remember if it was when he was still in the company, but he said something like that. I always love the tank. I understand he like talk about a throwback. Like pretty much this is around the last years where the foreign heel was a thing, and Rusev was probably one of the last that actually was good at it. Like I think I obviously never like as a non-American I don't appreciate people chanting USA for whoever is talking. Especially I hate it now when they do it to Gunther when he's not exactly an un-American heel. And like he's a foreign heel, but that's not his character. But Rusev was pretty good at it, and I think like pretty much the idea is there, like the all American John Cena against the big foreign Russian. I mean, they do say he's Bulgarian, but he nationalized Russian supposedly and all that.
God, I hope if Gunther's still champion next year, they don't do it. America versus Germany.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
The thoughts on what they'll try and have Gunther.
Like I want to see that match, but I don't want to see it on those terms.
Well, no, it's more of a case of thinking of what Gunther's entrance would be because I don't think they would. I don't think Triple H would let Gunther come out with.
No. If it were Vince, I would be worried. I'm sure Triple H won't do that. Hopefully.
Oh yeah. But then we had like John Cena do. Oddly enough, like he didn't really do a big flashy entrance like he normally does. He did this whole big video package of America is great and that, but like then he just comes out normally, which I was a little bit let down because I'm always used to him coming out with these like 50 million John Cenas or these kids or something like,
or a choir or for a marching band, something like that.
Yeah, just so to see him doing this like semi-normal entrance like was a little bit disappointing. but I get it because for this feud it was like it literally like it did what it needed to do. Like it was this whole America versus Russia thing, but
I guess. Yeah.
yeah, but I mean
No, because
I
it
just
has
wish that
like it had the Ronald Reagan speech. It was totally an America versus Russia thing because that's the Cold War, the ending of the Cold War stuff and all that. And then they also go to a clip of Obama, I think, and they're talking more about it's more about like American like individual, how America does like support individual ideas and all that. Again, I mean they don't go explicitly against our and Russia doesn't, but that's pretty much the implication being like because I'm pretty sure Rusev entered first, right? I'm almost positive he
yeah
entered
yeah
first.
Rusev
Yeah.
entered first, yeah.
And he did have the big entrance, so I was pretty happy to see that against. Because I was pretty sure he was going to lose going into the match, like when I saw it for the first time back. But like, I mean, the tag is a good visual. That's a good visual to have for Rusev.
Yeah, but the match itself, I think it was a really
It's a
fun
good
match. Like
match.
I forgot how good Rusev actually was.
Yeah, yeah. Like I was just missing him. Like I was seeing the match, and oh, I miss Miro. Like I'm pretty sure he's injured or something like that. I really like a Miro match or a Rusev match at the time. And John Cena, that this match has aged well in the sense that at the time, oh, it's a shame he's beating the new guy like Rusev. But on the other hand, this is the start of the USA Invitational match he had on Raw
yeah,
going into. I think it ended when Alberto. I mean, at the time, Alberto Rio beat him for the title Hell in a Cell. I mean, he
yeah,
did lose it against Seth Rollins at SummerSlam, but pretty much every match he had on Raw, except for a couple, like every match was great. Like it was a good showcase of the mid card. I was thinking of that when the IC title match was also like this is a pretty good mid card at the time. Like it's a strong mid card,
yeah.
and John Cena did
Um,
made a lot of effort to. He improved a lot in the ring. Like it's weird to say that about a man who was already at the top of the company, but he did became a lot better in this year, I think.
um, but yeah, and then and it's just one of those ones like Lana got up and did her usual managerial interference things, and there's at one point Rusev knocks it off, which caused the distraction for John Cena to actually capitalize and
Yeah, was it
win.
only he only took a one AA? Like it was after that. Like Rusev bumped Lana out of the apron, and then he hit the AA, and that was it. I'm pretty sure he only took one. That was a shame.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
he probably should have
but
kicked out of one. Like I was thinking of that. It's going to come up later, but almost every new guy loses in this mania. Like Seth Rollins
yeah,
lost, and then later, spoilers, I guess, Bray Wyatt lost and Roman Reigns lost, but every one of them at least kicked out of one of the finishers of the older guys, and Rusev didn't get that privilege. He did
yeah,
escape out of the STF, so that was nice, I guess.
yeah. No, it's one of those ones like I can't remember if after this match, I think it led to sort of Rusev and Lana kind of drifting apart as well. Like
Yeah, I don't remember if it was not after this pay per view, like they had a couple of other matches, John Cena and Rusev.
yeah,
Like I don't remember. I don't think the flag match was this year. They had
yeah.
an I Quit match and something else. I'm pretty sure. I don't remember what else.
But anyway, moving on, and this is where they decided like, you know, I don't think people watched the YouTube kickoff show. Let's recap the pre-show matches here. And so I'm gonna go back to the top of my notes. But yeah, so our pre-show matches we had like Tyson Kidd facing Los Matadores, the New Day, and the Usos for the WWE Tag Team Championships. In a four-way elimination match, which as I said this earlier, like I didn't like the way they did these four-way matches with two people in the ring and then just
Yeah.
randomly tagging in other members because like realistically, like why would you want to tag in like a opposing team? I mean, there's probably a strategy in place there, but
I mean,
it's just
yeah. I was never
um
big fan of that format either. Like they did it a couple of manias actually. Like I'm pretty sure there's two of them in Mania 35. I want to say like the
yeah,
women's tag titles and the SmackDown tag titles are defended that way. And this is also one like they aren't doing it that much. I'm guessing this year's, but they always did the Tower of Doom spot. And
yeah,
around this time, it wasn't tiring, but after a while, like oh, there it goes, Tower of Doom spot. but it was a fun match. Like I always loved the Cesaro and Kid. Those were also two wrestlers that I didn't know that well coming back into wrestling, and I always liked their work. And New Day, obviously, I was familiar with Kofi Kingston, and this is just before they became cool again. Like this is still semi babyface, but they were soon to turn heel. The next pay per view, I'm pretty sure they defeated Cesaro and Kid, and they became cool. And then the Usos weren't cool at all at this time. Like when I don't know which one. This is when nobody knew which one was which between Jimmy and Jay. And so one of them hits the Uso splash against Biggie, and nobody pops. Like the Usos are good wrestlers. They always were good wrestlers, but at the time, and especially when they become more involved with Roman Reigns, that they became uncool. And then after the Uso penitentiary stuff, that's when they became like the greatest team in this era, probably. And the Mandalorians are also there, and they don't matter.
Well, yeah, no, well, I was about to get to them because this is one of those ones I completely forgot that this was Carlito and no, it was Primo and Epico.
No, Primo and Epico, yeah, Primo and Epico.
Yeah, which because I was looking at this up, like, really? I'd like
like,
I didn't mind this Mad Dog gimmick, but I don't get why there's like, oh, you know what, we'll just change your names to Diego and Fernando. No one's going to know the difference.
They are pretty much if you ask in a trivia match, like which 4 teams were in this match, and you know pretty much the 3 teams, and then Los Matadores, the one you forget.
Yeah. But then, like in this match, like you had Jey Uso taken out of the match early, like as he went to the back.
He injured his shoulder.
Yeah. And then, but the match itself, it's one of those ones. Like, I get why this was on pre-show because it just ended up being a clusterfuck of a mess of a match. Like with a lot of interferences from the managers and just
every team had a manager. Like I was making note of that. There's Natalia, there's Naomi, there's El Torito, and that's Xavier Woods, and everybody does something almost at the end of the match.
But then ties again to Cesaro take the win, which good for them. Like they won a match on the pre-show.
They were there.
And the other pre-show match is the one that annoys me when they first relegated this to the pre-show. It's the Andre the Giant Battle Royale, which once again involved almost everyone that was in the tag team match. So they basically wrestled twice in this
2 matches at Mania. Who can say that? 2 matches at Mania.
And then you had Big Show win the Andre the Giant Battle Royale, which
I mean, he was going to eventually. Like he's pretty much the standing for like Andre the Giant. Like you have it. Like everybody was expecting him to win the year before when Cesaro won, but that they gave the moment to Cesaro, which was great, and it was actually in the main show. And then pre-show, sure, let's have Big Show win. Like probably should have been better to have Sandow win. I missed out at the time, like because he got a big pop when he turned on Miz. I remember also making note of Alex Riley was still in the company at the time, and the Miz and Sandow eliminate him. And also I remember like Hideo Itami, like the now and former Kenta, won an NXT tournament to get in this match and didn't last that long in that. Why?
Yeah, and no, it's one of those ones because I think there's definitely some history between Big Show and Andre the Giant. I think like people called I think there was a time where like people just he was called the Giant at one point in WWE as well. So I think, and they definitely made a note which I couldn't believe this because they were making a point that this is the first time Big Show's ever won a battle royale at the end of this match.
That might be right. Yeah,
and I mean it's one of those ones like I get it because like he's never won a Rumble, and like.
I mean, he did win the 2000 Rumble by accident.
Yeah,
like The Rock technically won, but Big Show actually won.
But it's just one of those ones that it is what it is. But yeah, I don't think there's much more to say about that Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Really isn't much to say about Royal. It was like they didn't have.
Here's a fact about it. Like it's the second longest match on the pay-per-view.
Oh yeah.
Like every match is very short. I was surprised to like kind of surprised because I remember like only the Triple H match is the longest one, which is always says on pay-per-view. It always is the Triple H match the longest, but every match is less than 20 minutes. Like even
Yeah,
some of them are less than 10. I mean, only
yeah.
one is
No,
less
it's
than
one of
10
those. It's one of those ones and we'll get to actually we'll get to that when we get to that point. But then we get this whole promo with Triple H, The Rock, Stephanie, Ronda Rousey, and Triple H comes out to the usual attendance recap. The Rock interrupts and then comes out and to a lot of cheers, and then Stephanie goes, yeah, no, we get it. You're happy to see him, and then did this whole thing with the Rock talking about how Triple H doesn't own the fans and Rival and all that. Then
and they start like you are famous because of the McMahons, and I don't know what they say, and then the Rock says like you only have like there's this old talk of the McMahons and the Johnsons. You wouldn't be empowered if it wasn't for Vince McMahon's Johnson. Said Stephanie.
Yeah, and then then Stephanie slaps The Rock, and then The Rock makes it look like he's just going to leave. Then he stops by Ronda Rousey, who I kind of wish they didn't spoil that she was in attendance earlier in the pay per view.
Like after the first match, they said she was there in the front.
Yeah, but then Ronda Rousey jumps the barricade, and then The Rock says he'll never hit a woman, but he has a friend who would, and then Stephanie tries to go, oh yeah, but Wanda is my friend, and then it's this whole thing about Stephanie trying to convince Wanda not to attack her, and then Wanda, then Rock and Wanda beat down Triple H and Stephanie before they sort of bail and run away. This was a fun segment. I do think
it was a bit too long.
This was almost 20 minutes.
Yeah, like this was longer than every match on the card, like not including entrances, of course. And this was always an issue with like WWE at the time. Like Stephanie only had a comeuppance at Mania, but the rest of the year she always made everybody else look worse because nobody could attack her because except for the time she was feuding with Brie Bella, she was never feuding against a woman, so nobody could hit her, and she only got like at Mania 32 she fall in the table, and 33 pretty much the same thing happened, and that's the only thing that happened to her. So it was at the very least that made Ronda look better. Like it's very weird watching her before like she became like a wrestler properly, like almost full main wrestler, I would say. So she looks really happy to be there.
Yeah, it was about 3 years after the segment.
And she was really happy to be there. And then by the end, she's not happy to be there. But at the end of her run last year, I guess. So nice to see her at the time. But also good cameos by the rest of the Four Horsewomen. Like Shayna is there, and Jessamine Duke is there, and Marina Shafir, who's now with John Moxley, is there. Like, yeah, as a mate, like in AEW. And also, I caught what's her name? Ava is there. The Rock's daughter is also there, but they never mention her by name. But I recognize her. Like, hey, there's Ava.
Yeah. No, it's one of those ones where this segment ultimately doesn't go anywhere anyway. It's like there's rumors that they was going to do like the whole mixed tag match with Rock and Ronda versus Triple H and Stephanie the year later, which never happened in the end.
Yeah.
And
this was around the time like they weren't allowing Rock to fight because the insurance with the movie industry was the issue. Like he got injured in Mania 29, I want to say, and they had to reshoot, like wait for shooting for Hercules, I guess. So that they didn't let him until like I'm guessing last year or maybe this year.
I mean,
he did fought. He did beat Eric Rowan last year, the next year, but that doesn't count.
Yeah, we wouldn't have missed anything if Hercules never happened.
Nobody needs that movie. Somehow, the better Hercules movie that year. That's a weird thing, and it's not that good either.
But then next up we had Undertaker facing on Bray Wyatt, and this was, as I completely forgotten until I was reminded by the video page, this is the year after Brock Lesnar sort of broke the streak. So, and but this is also one of those matches that it was kind of random as well because Undertaker never showed up on that programming before this to hype up the match. It was all Bray Wyatt because I think it was one of those ones I think we never knew that Undertaker was going to accept the challenge until the week before Mania or something like that. And but
Right.
the match itself, was pretty cool. Like Bray comes out with this cool entrance with scarecrows and all that, and yeah, but the match, I think the match was pretty good. Like Bray and Undertaker definitely did well working together, and it's was like the match itself. I thought was really good, and it kind of did make me wish that they kind of had Bray Wyatt break the streak as opposed instead of Brock Lesnar because I think it would have
Should have waited
like because
1 year. Yeah, should have
because I
waited 1
think
year.
Bray could have done more with this as a passing torch moment. But I mean, I get it because I think there was talks about Undertaker wanting it to be Brock to break the streak, which I don't know why. Um, yeah, what are your thoughts about Undertaker taking on Bray Wyatt?
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely much better than the match the year before with Lesnar, which obviously was the issue with the concussion the Undertaker had. I mean, it's always very, I mean, bittersweet to watch a Bray Wyatt match now, like knowing what happened. And it's so like there's a line. This is the best video package in the Mania, by the way. I think it's a good video package between, like they contrast the Man Comes Around of Johnny Cash with I don't know what the song is when the Bray Wyatt part starts, but it's the best video package around the match. And he has a line that goes like, "I will take my rightful place among the gods as the new face of fear." And I go, oh, there's always something very poetic about Bray Wyatt, like even during the his feud, and he totally carried the feud, as you said, like he was just like talking, hoping for the Undertaker to come back, and then he does. When yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the Raw before Mania. Like it was in the video package. It shows like the lightning striking the Sister Abigail chair, and it's a good match. Like Bray Undertaker looked a lot better. He was moving a lot quicker. Yeah, pretty much quickly at the beginning of the match, he got that you still got a chance. He ever lost it, said somebody in the commentary. I don't remember who, and it was fun. It was a match to be had because of the segment where Bray Wyatt does the spider walk and Taker does a sit up. That's pretty much the reason the match happened. And as you said, I wish he had beaten the streak instead of Lesnar. I understand why Lesnar did it. He was the most legitimate guy who to do it. I guess that's kind of why he shows him. But it was fun. It's a fun match. It's a solid match. Probably if not for the main event and the ladder match, it's probably my favorite match out of
Yeah,
like the third favorite match out of the rest of the card.
yeah. I mean, I think it's like I wonder if it was just a case of they'd set up the Brock versus Undertaker match at Mania last year, and they thought maybe it was going to be the last time Undertaker was going to compete. So it's like I want to go with my streak broken. So maybe that's it. But it's like because I think from here on in, like whether Undertaker competes, I think it was always a we'll see kind of thing. Because I think
Yeah.
he was at this point where he's like, I don't think he was ever sure if he was going to be able to go on
Like
longer.
for what I remember in the I didn't see the whole of the last ride, but I was pretty sure I'm for what I get from the Undertaker, he is not one of those that goes out if he's not comfortable with the result of the match or the not the result itself, but the performance aspect, I guess. Because if the match with Brock Lesnar would have been like the greatest match of his career or something around those parts, he probably would have been gone happy. The same way it happened when he battled Roman Reigns in 33, I'm pretty sure. He didn't like how it ended, so that's why he came back, and he was satisfied with the AJ Styles match. That's why he hasn't come back since because he's happy with the result of that match.
Yeah, and I honestly think it's kind of clear that from Taker's last match that his last match is going to be his last match because I think they've kind of made a point now because I think they did a whole thing about the end of the Taker or something. Um,
Uh,
and I think he's
also,
just glad.
I was gonna say this is probably the last pretty good year of Undertaker's in ring, like because this year he also had the two Lesnar matches, and then as you said, he really enjoyed working with Bray Wyatt as it seemed. So he did show up for Survivor Series. He and Kane battled Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt again, and this is probably
Yeah.
his last continued run of good matches. Like not Shawn Michaels matches, but good matches. Like he, and then the next year is the Shane McMahon match, and that's pretty much the whole one match a year started happening around this part again.
But for that, talking about Brock Lesnar going into the main event, which started off being Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns versus Roman Reigns, and then we had Seth Rollins cash in his Money in the Bank to steal the title, and it's one of those ones like I enjoyed the Reigns versus Lesnar part of the match enough. I kind of wish they did more, if that makes any sense, because like I think it was especially because I think the whole Brock and Roman part maybe went on a little bit too long before they had the whole Seth cashing in, because I think there's definitely a few times where they were both down, like it felt like they were rating a bit just for Seth to cash in and he doesn't do it, but um which reminds me of last year's May, where it was like there was an obvious spot where it was like they were waiting for someone to cash and shit like that. But and then yeah, Seth Rollins cash and do a few moves like take out Brock and then Roman and get the pin for the win, and it was like I enjoyed the match for what it was. Like I kind of wish we had sort of more Seth Rollins in this. Like if he cashed in earlier, making it a triple threat for a little bit longer. But for what it is, like it also made sense because both Reigns and Lesnar were beaten up a lot at the point that that Seth came out. Anyways, is like there really wasn't much more they probably could have done. But yeah, what are your thoughts about the main event?
Yeah, even at the time, I really liked the Lesnar and Reigns match. Like this is pretty much the issue with the whole Mania. Like nobody was expecting this Mania to be good because the build up was very bad. Like almost every match had no heat going into it. Like even the IC title match was just the story was everybody was stealing the title, and then the Bray Wyatt match was just Bray Wyatt talking, and this match had the tug of war, which wasn't pretty good. Roman Reigns wasn't liked at all, and this is I remember something in the promo package before it, like if people can see inside, like with my eyes, what I'm going through, like Roman Reigns say something like that, and I was just thinking this is the time when he was wearing contact lenses. So how can you see with your eyes if you're not even showing your real eyes? And it's like that's the whole deal. But the match itself was pretty good. Like I understand feeling like they could have done a lot more in ring probably, but this is around the time when the Suplex City wasn't boring. This is when he
Yeah,
coined the phrase. Actually, like this is the first time he says it. And there's something about especially Brock Lesnar. Something very underrated about him is his selling. Like the way he sells Roman Reigns' offense is what makes the match really good, actually. And to a similar extent, Roman Reigns' selling is also pretty good in this one. It's a pretty physical match. It even has blood, and it's pretty funny that knowing now that they fought like 10 times more in pay per view, like the first match and and their last match are the best of their whole catalog out of the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar. And then Seth Rollins cash in is what makes it like for a pretty good match to a great moment. Like this is like they always talk a lot about the WrestleMania moment here and WrestleMania moment. This is the like probably one of the biggest WrestleMania moments. It definitely top five, and the highest of the century was coin and all that. And that's what like that was so funny about it. Like going into the match, everybody was thinking maybe Lesnar is losing because he wasn't supposed to resign to the company. That was the rumors at the time, and they even mentioned it on Mania. Like he did resign, so he might win. And so that there's now heat in the match to extend, and then Rollins kind of saves the whole. Like even if he was heel, he saved the audience from like a boring Lesnar retention or a boring Reigns win. Like now
yeah.
Rollins is the champion, even if he's heel, but he's the future, as JBL said.
Yeah. But with that brings us in preview. A question I've been asking everyone on every episode. Eric, if you could go back in time and change one booking decision of the show, what would you change?
Probably Triple H and Sting. That's the one that this even the thing with this Mania, like, is always considered among the best ones, is because it doesn't have like a stinker of a match, and that's the closer one to me to a stinker, even if it's not that bad at all. But like, Sting should have won that match. Like, Triple H can't afford
Yeah.
to lose. It's fine. That's the one I would change.
Um, yeah, funny enough for me, but then I'm also picking on Triple H, but not for the him versus Sting match. I would cut down the whole the segment
Yeah,
with him,
it's
The
also
Rock, and Stephanie and all that a little bit, and then maybe move the battle royal onto the main card, where, in my opinion, it should be. Especially that they're calling it Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale,
yeah.
because I think, and it's one of those ones we'll definitely get there when we get to one of the mains that has it. Like, it's like the Money in the Bank match. Like, for the longest time, that used to be a staple of Mania, but since they made it its own thing, which there are rumors of them maybe merging them back together and putting it back on Mania at some stage. Um, when they brought in the Memorial Battle Royale, I think that became a staple. They still do it. It's just either on the SmackDown beforehand,
Like, it hasn't been on
or
Mania since Mania, I want to say 37. It's always been at the SmackDown pre-show, the show. I mean, the SmackDown before Mania.
yeah, which honestly probably would have been the pre-show, because they still do the kickoff pre-shows,
No,
but they
but
don't put
they
matches
don't
on
do
anymore.
matches. Yeah, that's a weird thing.
Um,
At least have it in the crowd. Like, it's, I don't understand what, like, it isn't much of an issue when the kickoff is just 1 hour. It's fine. When when SummerSlam had the kickoff show last like 2 or 3 hours long, and they didn't have any matches, and they were, what the hell?
I mean, I think Mania is about. I think the pre-show is now about 2 hours
Yeah,
of
and no
talking.
matches. Yeah, it's been 2 hours since they do pre-shows again. I
Yeah,
guess
I mean,
this one didn't have two
I
hours.
think
Yeah,
it's 2 hours for the big pay views. I think for the smaller ones, I think it's an hour or something.
yeah, sounds
But
right.
but with that, what would you rate WrestleMania 31 out of 5 stars?
Around four, I guess. Four, maybe 4.25 if we are being like that. I normally don't do quarters, but yeah, 4.25 is probably the closest to it, like closer to a 4.5. But 4.25 sounds right to me.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I actually would go 4.5. Like despite like a couple of matches, AJ and the Bellas were fine. And this Triple H versus Sting match was
Like,
it was good for the most part. They just had stuff that took me away from it. There wasn't
yeah,
a much I didn't like about this pay per view. I think it
it's
was
like, that's something, not to bring him up a lot because everybody talks about him too much, but Dave Meltzer said it right when this is a great Mania, but there's no match here that it's one of the greatest Mania matches. That's the issue with it. Like, even WrestleMania 30, even if it has lower lows, like the best match in WrestleMania 30, it has the opener and the main event are two of the greatest Mania matches, and this one has
yeah
the main event as well, but it's, even if it's a great moment, it's not one of the greatest Mania matches of all time. That's why I can't bring it higher, but it is a pretty good Mania. It's definitely top 10 for me.
yeah. But for that, it's time to spin the wheel to find out what next week's episode is going to be about. And I've got about 646 pay per views on here. It's going to be NXT Takeover in Brooklyn, the fourth one from 2018.
So show.
Yeah.
Oh, that has a really good match in the main event. I'm pretty sure that's the one I'm thinking.
I'll just bring that up now. Brooklyn 4.
It's like 5 matches only. That's the fun thing about NXT takeovers. They are very short,
Yeah.
but they are almost all great. I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember
So
what else happened.
so we've got Bianca Belair versus Deonna Purrazzo.
Pre-show.
Um,
Yeah.
I know they were taped for a future episode of NXT, not
not even pre-show. That's they didn't do pre-show. They did. Yeah, they taped for NXT at the time.
Yeah, so the actual card, we have got the Undisputed Era taking on Mustache Mountain, Velveteen Dream EC3.
That has an HOL.
I mean,
but it's a fine match. It's a fine match. I remember it being good.
Yeah.
This one has Ricochet versus Adam Cole. That's a great one. Yeah.
Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler, and then Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. Which I've heard a lot about. I think I might have seen actually clips from that match at times as well. But that'll be next week. Eric, where can people find you online?
You can find me probably anywhere where you could find Malcolm these days, I guess. You can find me at the Movie Hero Network. In a couple hours, we're going to be at ASAT. And also we're going to do a music debate, but I don't know what's it called or where is it hosted, but it's going to be fun. And then you can find me at Multiplex, Why We Love Horror, Lights Out, all of the places, I guess. You'll probably see me by now if you're seeing this one.
And you can find me on Tape Productions, hosting Rankin every Sunday night. Next week we're doing top 12 TV shows that won the Outstanding Comedy Series award at the Emmys. And you can find me here on Three from the Past next week talking about NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Yes, to be confirmed, but obviously because I've only just spun it, so I haven't asked anyone yet. And you can also sort of find me around other places. I'll actually be on the Movie Hero Network in about an hour and a half doing a recast of Jurassic Park. But that is the end of this for today. And actually, I'm going to end on a somber note because it was just announced today that sadly James Earl Jones has passed away. So rest in peace, James Earl Jones. And I'm not going to lie, the first thing that I thought of when I thought was the clip I'm going to play to close out the show.
You've made an old jazz man happy, Lisa.
You must avenge my death, Kimba. I mean, Simba. Luke, I am your father. This is CNN.
Will you guys pipe down? I'm saying goodbye to Lisa.